afternoon and welcome to CC Gurukul lecture. In continuation with the series on Indian sociological tradition, in today's lecture we are going to discuss about Louis Dumont and his contribution to sociology of India. Before I begin discussing Louis Dumont, it's very important to recap and understand the objective of this series, which is Indian sociological tradition. The objective is to understand the contribution of sociologists in terms of building the knowledge of sociology of India. And in the earlier lecture, I have looked into most of the sociologists who belong to Indian, for instance, J.S. Ghurye, M.N. Srinivas, and others, D.P. Mukherjee, and others. So, why it is different today, or why I am talking about, is that Louis Dumont was a Western scholar. And that's what makes us understand that these Srinivas, Ghurye and others were trying to build a sociology of India, and Louis Dumont had led the foundation. Being a Western scholar, he was interested in India, and therefore he kind of contributed significantly in terms of bringing about a new direction to in understanding society, and also the role of sociology in terms of contributing to the understanding of caste, class, gender and other dimension of Indian society. So in today's lecture, I am going to talk about what are the contributions that Louis Dumont has done in terms of developing the discipline of sociology of India. So to begin with, let us try to understand the context of Louis Dumont, and that is that he was a French anthropologist, and he was the son of an engineer. So in terms of the family background, he was kind of asked to continue with study in the engineering and technical field, but Dumont was not interested, and therefore he kind of dropped out. He was even thrown out of house by his widow mother because he was not interested in the study. And he also kind of takes on to military, but during the World War II he was imprisoned. He became a prisoner of war, and it's like kind of in mid-30s that he kind of gets in touch with Marcel Mauss. Marcel Mauss was one of the important anthropologists who has contributed to the understanding of exchange theory and gift. So Marcel Mauss influenced Louis Dumont in terms of developing his interest in anthropology. And post the entire period of war, he was learning German and Sanskrit while he was in the prison. After the war, he visited India and conducted a field work from 1948 to the later part into 2 years, and again visited South India in 1957 to do a field work among the Kallar in Tamil Nadu. So what was the finding when he spent so many time in South India doing study of the people there? He was basically interested in understanding the social structure, and all his research ethnographic field was published in a book which was titled A South Indian Subcaste, Social Organization and Religion of the Paramalai Kala. So when we look into the title, we see that Dumont was basically interested in the social structure, that is in terms of understanding caste, subcaste, religion, the role of religion, because he was under the impression that the ritual religion was a very dominant influence on Indian social structure. It kind of organized the life of the people, and that is why in his later work in the caste, he will be giving us a ritual theory of the caste system. So this work, which he published in the early 1980s, he was kind of transformed the paradigm of the sociology of India. Why? Because till then the focus of the study was to understand village in terms of understanding the contribution that village as a social structure did in terms of understanding the society of India. He shifted the focus from taking village to caste as the focus of understanding society. For him, caste was the main kind of core of the structure, and if one was able to have a holistic understanding of the society in India, one had to understand the caste system. This was the paradigm shift that Dumont brought about. So we have all this kind of time till then. It was all over in India. The focus was to understand village and to understand how the village social structure was changing in terms of the social religion, cultural social practices. But Dumont kind of brings his attention to making caste as the center for theorization of sociology of India. Now, when we look into his research, he kind of spends 15 months from 1957 to 58 in a village of Gorakhpur district in eastern Uttar Pradesh. So, he visited South India and he also visited North India. But then his visit in North India, he was not very kind of impressed by the people and also their lifestyle, and it did not attract him much. And the reason he rather chose to kind of continue his study in South India. So, his focus on South India was because he wanted to kind of bring out the main understanding of the social structure of Indian society, and he believed that it was the encounter. So, in North you had this Aryan speaking people and they kind of mixed with the Dravidian South, and this led to the rise of Vedic Hinduism. And when we look into his understanding of caste system, we will see how his entire understanding of caste emerges from the understanding of Hinduism. That is, he is giving us a ritual understanding of caste system. So, when we kind of look into his understanding of North and South, because he's done field work in both the areas, it says that obviously one thing is very clear, is that the time that he spent in North India was very short lived. It was for a small period, and he spent that short stay in North India actually gave him that whole idea of comparing North versus South. And this is kind of the North versus South comparison is very common in anthropology. Also, when we try to understand kinship, we have theories which say that North India has endogamy, whereas South India has cross cousin marriage. So, this comparison was in terms of developing his methodology of a comparative kind. So, he points out that in North, as we know, that there is a major difference in terms of the marriage rules, and in North the marriage rule is kind of can be considered as a negative rule because it is prohibiting certain partners. So, you cannot marry kind of people who are known to you. So, you have these Gotra exogamy or caste exogamy, which is a rule which says that individuals are going to marry outside their own group, and this is completely contrast to the South India, where the marriage rule is a positive rule and it's a prescriptive rule. It prescribes who are your marriage partner. So, you have a cross cousin marriage where it is clearly prescribed that the cross cousin, that is mother's brother's daughter or father's sister's daughter, are kind of eligible partners for marriage, and therefore this is the kind of a distinction, comparative distinction that Dumont gives us versus North and South. So, there are two levels of comparison. One, that in North there is a rule of a negative rule which prohibits. South there is a positive rule which prescribes. The second difference is in North India the generally marry outside your kin, whereas South India it is a kind of marriage within the kin group. But then the similarity is that whether it be marrying outside the group or within the group, what is the function of these marriage negotiation, and that is a kind of it either protects or enhances the social status and family prestige. So, that is the similarity in both North and South. And then when we look into his what he emerges, the grand theorization that emerged from his visit to North and South India was the concept of hierarchy, which was the keystone to his theory. And according to Dumont, hierarchy was a pan-Indian phenomena. So, why is he calling it a pan-India phenomena? Because it was to be found in both North and South and other parts as well, because hierarchy was not in terms of kind of power, but it was in terms of kind of capacity to acquire power through the caste system, and therefore he also looks at hierarchy as a feature that unites India, or gives it a civilizational unity, and that is kind of giving a very positive interpretation of the caste system, which was at that point of time by many other Western scholar, was kind of put into a negative limelight in terms of division of labor, exploitation, appropriation of resources, and so forth. So Dumont kind of turns around and gives us a positive interpretation and says that it is hierarchy which gives expression to civilizational unity in India. Now, when we look into his methodology, we know that he is very influenced by Levi-Strauss, binary opposition, and he kind of looks into a kind of a dialectical relation between the two opposites. So, what was the two binary opposition which was the core of his theory was hierarchy versus individualism, and therefore he says that there is a dialectical relation between hierarchy and individualism. Later, we will see how this opposition between dialectical and individualism becomes the kind of basis on which Dumont compares India with Western society. His method was basically comparative with, and as well as a dialectical method, because he's looking into the relation between these binaries, and it was the hierarchy for him gave us a cross-cultural comparative notion of application and power, because the power which was a part of the Indian social structure was not kind of seen as emerging from the economy or kind of seeing it from any other source, but from the caste system. It was the power that is the ranking of members into this hierarchy. Those who were at the top were the power. They were the ones who were powerful. They were the ones who could subordinate those who were below them. And that is why he is calling it as kind of an application of power. He attempted to account for caste system in terms of theoretical principle of hierarchy. And the theoretical principle of hierarchy is ranking individual into groups, and on the basis of this ranking, resource allocations and division of labor was done. When we also look into his methodology, it's very important that he kind of looks into ideas, because he's influenced by Levi-Strauss and his structuralism. We see a lot of reference to ideology and structure. So how do you understand the caste system? It is in terms of the ideas that people have about it. It is in terms of the notion of how the group is structured around the caste system. So when we look into ideology and structure, by ideology, Louis Dumont it refers to more or less unified set of ideas and value. Why is he calling ideology as a unified set of ideas and values? Because the caste system and the hierarchy was kind of accepted as legitimate. So people did not question the caste system, and they kind of accepted as it is. So that according to Dumont, it was kind of non-negotiable. It was if one was born into a lower caste, it was acceptable. And why was it acceptable? Because the ideology was that it is kind of based on ritual attributes. So some of the binaries which he kind of uses in understanding or theorizing the society in India is obviously the first one, which is the idea of holism against individualism. Holism in the sense a community in terms of a collective group versus individualism. So he sees India's caste system as a reflection of holism, and then when he compares it to the West, he thinks the Western society are more individualistic oriented. Then the second binary opposition is the hierarchy against equality. So the society which are based on collective unit, they are kind of based on hierarchy. So how do kind of negotiation takes place among them is in terms of people's rank in the hierarchy, whereas the society which are more individualistic oriented are more egalitarian. The third binary opposition is purity against pollution. Purity in the sense, he will again kind of say that it is more in terms of since society is kind of egalitarian, it is individualistic, so it is a kind of more close to purity. Whereas when we look into the caste system, it was the entire relation between the different caste was based on the idea of pollution, that the lower caste would pollute, or in other words would dirty or kind of reduce the purity of the Brahmin, and therefore there was kind of interdining, no interdining between members of different castes, and the space was spatial organization where Brahmin would be located in the center of the area, geographical area, and the members of the lower caste would be on the margin. So the entire notion of pollution could organize the relation among the members of the caste. So these binaries of holism versus individualism, hierarchy versus equality, purity versus pollution, status against power are kind of seen as a dialectical relation. They are not independent of each other. They are kind of related, and in order to understand the structure, you need to look into the ideological binaries, and therefore it will help us. So when he is looking into the binary opposition, as I already said, Louis Dumont was impressed by Levi-Strauss structuralism, and Levi-Strauss has used his structuralism to understand kinship system. Here Louis Dumont uses it to kind of arrive at a comparative understanding of India versus the West, and this was a kind of Orientalist discourse of Louis Dumont, where he kind of brings in the features of India only in contrast to the West. So when India was seen as traditional, West was seen as modern or modernity. So industrial revolution and modernity had kind of assumed to be happened in the Western society. Caste system was hierarchical, whereas in the West you had equality, and again India you had pollution, West you had purity. India, we have holism, which is the community, collective, group work, whereas in the West there is individualism. And then in India it's power, caste system. The entire caste system can be understood as in terms of power, those having the capacity to get labor done by the others, or even appropriate or exploit those who are below them. And in the West, it's a question of status. It is a question of kind of acquiring a privileged status in terms of merit. So when the contrast is made between India and West, we see power or hierarchy is kind of attributes which are inherited. So caste system was kind of based on birth, whereas in West the merit, the status was in terms of individual merit. So one could kind of work hard, labor more, and acquire a higher status. So this was a comparative understanding of India versus West, and again this is something which had been coming in from number of other sociologists in terms of an evolution of simple society into a complex society, from an agrarian society to a industrial society, and India was kind of put into the traditional pre-industrial, agrarian, and having kind of influence of caste system. So this was his methodology of binary opposition, which he uses to compare India and West. The next is in terms of understanding the ideology of caste system. And as we kind of know that he was trying to use the binary opposition also to understand caste system, and the caste system the binaries that he will be using was in terms of pure versus impure, pollution versus purity, and again in terms of kind of we see that how he uses this ideology of caste system to compare India with the West. So hierarchy is the ideology of hierarchy or ranking the groups according to the birth was a pivotal place according to Durkheim according to Dumont in the study of caste system in India. And when we try to understand what Dumont meant by hierarchy, what does it mean? So hierarchy implies an opposition between pure and impure. So the two binary opposition that he takes into mind is pure and impure, and which is a dialectical. So hierarchy suggests that the pure encompasses the impure. So it's kind of a relation of interdependence and also the kind of relativity. So hierarchy, we know that the caste system was ranked according to purity. So the Brahmins were considered to be more pure than the Kshatriyas, and the Kshatriyas were considered as more pure than the Vaishyas. And then kind of a relation of interdependence and interrelation was established. Another methodological relevance of Louis Dumont is his Indological approach. So Indological approach is the study of Indian society, and it is kind of considered as a science where the scholar refers to book existing primary sources of data, and it kind of does a very rigorous study of the existing literature in order to kind of explain the empirical reality. So we have seen that Dumont had learned Sanskrit, and he had also kind of, when he was in South India, he also learned Hindi and Urdu, and therefore he kind of spent a lot of time getting familiar with the existing literature on Indian society, and he uses these literature in terms of understanding the empirical reality. And he kind of believes that sociology was at the if we were to develop a sociology of India, it had to be in terms of confluence of sociology and Indology. That is, Indology would help us to understand the past as it was depicted in the literature, and sociology would help us to understand the empirical reality as it was existing. So the task of the sociologist, according to Louis Dumont, was to understand the ideas, understand ways in which certain ideas influences human behavior. So the idea of the pure and the impure influenced people in terms of organizing themselves into a caste system. Along with Indological approach, he also uses a structural approach, and as I already said, he was a structuralist influenced by Levi-Strauss. So when he looks into the Hindu society, when he's trying to study the Indian society, he uses a structuralist perspective, which kind of gives more focus on the structures of ideas of a given system. That is, how does the notion of hierarchy, how does the idea of pure and impure, how does the idea of pollution and purity structure relations among people, and that is caste system. That they had this belief that Brahmins are purer than the untouchables, so they could be ranked higher, and they were assigned works which was in terms of reading and religion, and the idea was that the untouchables were kind of considered as impure, and therefore they were given the work of kind of cleansing and other work which was considered as impure for the Brahmin. So the essential principle or the essential logic of caste system, according to Dumont, is visible in everyday life. So he's saying that you can understand the system, is the empirical reality, by kind of making reference to the existing theory and see how that theory is actually applicable in everyday life. So the caste system was a structure of a relation between the Brahmins, the other four Varnas, and everyday relation, the way everyday relation was kind of organized in terms of division of labor, in terms of spatial reorganization, in terms of maintaining distance between two castes, in terms of separation between the pure and the impure, was something which was part of everyday life. So his idea was to develop a pure model. That is, he was actually trying to develop a kind of a ideal type of a model which could help us to understand the overall system in order to give us a holistic interpretation of society in India. The fourth methodology, which is again very significant for understanding Louis Dumont's contribution, is his cognitive historical approach. Cognitive historical perspective was applied by Louis Dumont to study Indian society. And what does it imply? It implies to understand system in terms of the relationship and also in terms of ideas or value pattern of cognitive. So cognitive means what is arising from the mind, and what it's in terms of ideas. What are the ways in which people have developed ideas, have developed the notion of certain purity, impurity, and have used these ideas to pattern the social relation among themselves. So when we see that he was trying to understand social change, which was a part of all sociologists who were trying to understand society, because society was under transformation. There was a kind of change which was happening. So according to Dumont, if we were to make sense of the change that was taking place, it was very important to understand the ideas, and ideas in the terms of reactions, ideas in terms of cognitive elements of Western culture. So you had ideas of individualism, freedom, democracy already in the mind. So you use this idea, and therefore you arrived at a opposite of all to understand India society. So if you had this idea of individual freedom and democracy, and you saw that India there was no individualism, so you arrived at the concept of holism. There was no kind of a freedom, the mobility was restricted, so you arrived at the concept of hierarchy, and so on. So when we look into some of the main writings, La Tarasque was his first publication in 1951, which was a study of the folk festival in southern France, and hierarchy and marriage alliance in South India was one of the most important contribution, because it was here where he brings in Levi-Strauss' theory of alliance approach and tells us how cross cousin marriage is a way of creating alliance. It is not an individual marriage, but the exchange of women kind of structures the society in terms of establishing a relation between two groups. And the third important work is Homo hierarchicus. The Homo hierarchicus is one of the classical work by Dumont, and it is kind of a work which brings about a paradigm shift in the study of Indian society, because it brings us the understanding of caste system. And as the title suggests, he was looking at the implication of the caste system. The fourth is Religion, Politics, History in India, which is a collected papers in looking into the transformation in terms of changes in religion, politics and history. The fourth, next is Homo Aquila. Now, Homo Aquila is a very important publication, because this was published in kind of opposition to Homo hierarchicus. So, in Homo hierarchicus, he is looking at the hierarchy of the Indian society. In Homo Aquila, he is looking at the individualism, equality and freedom of the European society. So, rather Homo hierarchicus became the kind of a gave him a path to understand Western society. So, the study of Indian society kind of generated in him the interest of understanding the society, and that is kind of studying the self society by reference to the other, and that becomes very important to understand Louis Dumont in and his contribution to the study of Indian society. With this, I come to an end of today's lecture. Thank you.